Imagine this. You just woke up. You're bound inside a tiny, cramped iron cell. You have absolutely zero memory of how you even got there, and all you can hear is the sound of cold metal and the crashing waves of an unforgiving ocean. Well, today, we are diving deep into the terrifying reality of Prisoner 13. We're going to unpack one of the most chilling survival stories set in the dark, post-war world of 2053. It's a look at a society that completely redefined the boundaries of punishment and, honestly, humanity itself. It's a gripping story about human endurance against a ruthless, entirely automated machine. Welcome to today's Explainer. But right off the bat, you're probably wondering, how did the world even get this dark? So let's set the stage. By 2053, a massive global war had finally ended, but it just left absolute chaos everywhere. Crime didn't just tick up a little bit. It skyrocketed by a staggering 800%. Think about that for a second. 800%. This massive crime wave completely overwhelmed the global prison system. I mean, there literally wasn't room for a single extra needle, let alone millions of new inmates. So to solve this seemingly insurmountable crisis, the government engineered a terrifying new rehabilitation program, something that in any previous era would have been condemned as entirely inhumane. They called it the Box Program. And that leads us to the grim reality facing every single convicted criminal in this society. The system offered a bleak, binary choice. If you got caught, there were no trials, no appeals, no parole hearings. Nope. Inmates had to choose. Either volunteer for immediate on-the-spot execution or serve your entire sentence locked inside a small, inescapable iron box. It is a psychological trap right from the start, basically forcing individuals to technically choose their own torture just to stay alive. Okay. So let's say you chose the box. Once you're inside, the rules are absolutely suffocating. First off, you are at the absolute mercy of the outside world. Your food and water, they aren't guaranteed. They're delivered based entirely on the whim and mood of the good citizens you supposedly harmed. Yeah. Second, the box is a hair-trigger execution chamber. Any attempt to escape, or even tamper with the box, results in instant death. And this is the exact nightmare our protagonist, a French woman we only know as Prisoner 13, wakes up to. She finds herself bound hand and foot inside one of these boxes, stranded on a rocky Australian shore, and she is literally forced to chew through her own ropes to begin a grueling 7-year sentence. And here's where the system gets incredibly twisted. As Prisoner 13 frees herself and desperately begs for release, a small hatch closes, a screen flickers on, and an automated video explains the system. It ends with this chilling message: you are in the place you chose. It is a total masterclass in gaslighting. The system uses her own instinct to survive against her, serving as this ironic, cruel justification for the relentless psychological and physical torture she is about to endure. And naturally, it triggers a massive nervous breakdown. She screams, cries, and swears she's innocent until sheer exhaustion just forces her to pass out. To truly grasp her ordeal, we really have to map out the agonizingly slow passage of time. In those early days, she meticulously searches every single inch of her cell looking for an escape route. But the box is designed to punish even basic curiosity. If she touches the walls in a specific spot for too long, zap, she is hit with a mechanical electric shock. Over hundreds of days, prisoners just become hollow shells. We actually see another inmate who has served 1,000 days, and he simply rocks back and forth, mindlessly repeating, "I am in the place I chose." Because you see, the system doesn't just isolate you. It actively enforces obedience with a horrifying array of automated punishments. It builds this constant sense of dread. For example, we see another female prisoner with 500 days left who tampers with the lights and camera. The machine's response? Swift and completely devoid of empathy. An alarm blares, a countdown begins, and heavy iron spikes slowly descend from the ceiling. Even when the system briefly glitches, giving her a false moment of hope, it ultimately just resumes and crushes her to death. The machine has no mercy whatsoever. But amidst all this mechanized brutality, we do witness these incredibly fragile moments of humanity. Like some kids playing on the beach accidentally bounce a rubber ball into 13's cell. It gives her her very first real distraction. Later on, a 16-year-old girl visits the hatch. Suspecting 13 is a political prisoner, she brings her clean water, some seeds, and eventually a forbidden copy of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. This young girl, who actually lost her own sister, provides literally the only warmth in 13's existence, hiding that tiny book inside the bag of seeds. Unfortunately, human interaction outside the box isn't always kind. After a drone relocates her box to a spot above the ocean,
A man appears at her hatch, and he is casually eating an apple just to taunt her. Prisoner 13 is starving at this point, and she desperately begs for just one single bite. The man sadistically tells her he'd rather execute every prisoner, but he offers a vile trade. She can have the apple in exchange for sexual favors, and driven entirely by pure desperation and starvation, she actually agrees.
What happens next is a chaotic, violent escalation. As the man approaches the hatch, an automated surveillance drone catches them in the act. The drone immediately opens fire, executing the man right on the spot. But the brutality doesn't stop there. A bullet ricochets into the box, shooting prisoner 13 right in the leg. Despite the agonizing pain, her survival instinct just takes over. She reaches out, grabs the dead man's apple, and begins eating it ravenously, only to make the sickening discovery that it is completely rotting and filled with worms.
And remember those rules we discussed earlier? While the automated system simply registers this horrific event as trading food. And the punishment for that infraction is a relentless 7 days of torture. For 1 full week, blinding lights flare inside the box and a deafening alarm blares continuously. If she tries to sleep, the alarm gets louder. It is her one and only warning. If she breaks the rules again, it's an automatic execution.
You can probably imagine the psychological toll of this sleep deprivation. It completely fractures her mind. In the blinding, inescapable light, the line between reality and hallucination just dissolves. At one point, she actually imagines she is released, only to be visited inside the box by a beautifully dressed woman sipping tea on a couch. The woman mocks her suffering, laughing hysterically while 13 screams in agony. And the absolute most terrifying part? That beautiful woman is a hallucination of prisoner 13 herself, exactly as she looked before she was arrested.
So her mental decay is severe, but physical decay mirrors it perfectly. Her teeth began to fall out. Then, one morning, an old woman approaches her hatch. This woman survived 15 agonizing years inside a box of her own. She hands prisoner 13 a rusty razor blade and whispers, "I hate the person I've become." She offers 13 a way out. 13 takes it and presses the cold, rusty metal against her skin, staring at it for a really long time. But ultimately, she simply cannot bring herself to end her own life. The human will to survive is just too strong.
But her survival leads to one of the most heartbreaking moments of the entire ordeal. Months later, as a direct result of that horrific encounter with the man in the apple, prisoner 13 goes into labor alone in the cold iron box. She actually delivers a baby, cuts the umbilical cord with her own teeth, and holds her child for a fleeting moment. But of course, the system detects an unauthorized person in the box, alarms blare. The box is flooded with gas, knocking her unconscious. When she finally wakes up, her baby has been taken from her forever, instantly erasing the only pure thing she had left. Fast forward a bit, we are now 4 years into her 7-year sentence, and the ordeal reaches its absolute breaking point. The drone has moved her box again, this time precariously close to the ocean. A massive, violent storm rolls in. High waves start violently battering the iron walls. Water actually begins pouring in through these tiny holes 13 had painstakingly carved over the years with a loose screw, and the sheer volume of water causes the box's automated control panel to dangerously short-circuit and glitch out.
As the system totally malfunctions, the hatch violently slams open and closed. 13 desperately reaches her arm out, hoping to find something, anything, to help her survive. But the glitching hatch slams shut right on her arm, dropping her and breaking her bone as she screams in pain. Eventually, it releases her, but the situation inside is dire. The floodwaters are rising fast. She is so starved that she catches a bug floating in the water and eats it, fighting back the urge to vomit just to stay alive as the water threatens to drown her. With the water rising so high she can barely stand, the machine registers the flood as an illegal intervention and coldly schedules her for immediate execution. An execution drone descends from the stormy sky, clamps onto her box to carry her away to her death. She is completely, utterly helpless. But then, in a thrilling, literal strike of luck, a massive bolt of lightning blasts out of the sky, striking the drone head-on. The machine is destroyed, and the box plummets right back down into the churning ocean waves. Eventually, the storm passes. The battered, rusted box is caught by the tide and finally washes up onto a quiet, sandy beach. The automated lock is completely dead. So for the first time in over 4 years, the door actually gives way. Prisoner 13, broken, starved, and traumatized, miraculously stumbles out of the box and breathes the open air. Against all odds, she has survived the unsurvivable. But here is the real twist. The true horror of this society is revealed in these final moments. As she emerges onto the beach, gasping for life,
3 young people are hanging out nearby. They see the rested prison box wash ashore. They look right at prisoner 13, a shattered human being in desperate need of help. And what do? They simply turn around and walk away, heading home as if she doesn't even exist. The system hasn't just isolated the prisoners, it has completely desensitized the everyday citizens. So it really leaves us with this heavy thought. If a society can comfortably walk past a starving, broken human being in an iron box, has that society lost more of its humanity than the criminals it claims to be rehabilitating? The system promised to fix the crime rate, but in doing so, it totally eradicated basic human empathy. Keep questioning the systems around you, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.